Soldiers on average only spent 15% of the year on the front line, usually for no more than 2 weeks at a time. They constantly moved around the trench system, meaning more often than not, they weren't in direct danger of enemy fire. A soldier's life in the trenches was more one of boredom and regular routine. One of the biggest blasts of the war occurred when the British detonated £1 million of explosives under the Germans at Messines Ridge in Belgium. It occurred after a group of miners operating in total secrecy dug tunnels up to 100 feet underground to plant and detonate mines beneath the enemy's trenches. Much of the German front line was destroyed and the explosions were heard 140 miles away by the British Prime Minister in Downing Street. Shrapnel was the cause of many facial injuries in World War I. The twisted metal shards produced from a shrapnel blast could easily rip a man's face off, unlike the straight-line wounds inflicted by bullets. Horrified by the injuries he saw, surgeon Harold Gillies took on the task of helping victims and pioneered early techniques of facial reconstruction in the process. In this day and age, it's hard keeping information off the web, but in World War I, governments sought to control the flow of information from the front line because they believed it was helping the enemy. As a result, journalists were banned and, if caught, faced the death penalty. Despite this, a handful of them battled on, risking their lives to report on the realities of war. Because most of the men were off fighting, a generation of women took their place in the workforce. These dedicated ladies worked long hours, often in poor conditions and with dangerous chemicals. Some of the women who worked with TNT, which gave them toxic jaundice and turned their skin yellow, were labelled the canaries of the war. Christmas 1914 and an unofficial truce was observed along 2/3 of the Western Front near Ypres in Belgium, all in the name of recreation. Amazingly, a bunch of German and British troops downed their weapons to play a friendly match of football between the two sides, in what was known as no man's land. Germany is said to have won at least that round.